When I began drawing this eye, I kind of made a little extra grid line on the middle of the eye to help me find the middle of the picture where I was drawing. It's important to notice that I'm going through and trying to figure out the general shape and placement of every single part of this before I ever do any shading. Once I am ready to shade, then I'm going to start mapping in my darks and my lights. In this instance, I decided to go with the inside of the eyeball first. When I mapped in the iris, it's going to be really dark in this example because this person's iris and pupil are very similar in value. So I want to make sure that I'm making them dark, but I'm looking for subtle changes like how it's just a little bit darker on the edge of the iris than it is in the middle. Places that are a reflection, I'm going to leave where they're completely blank and I'm not even filling them in with any value at first because it's easier to leave it white and add a little value afterwards rather than to try and erase it on the aftermath. It's also really important to understand that the white of your eye is actually a sphere. It is not flat and it is not the same value all the way across. Notice how I'm getting little shadows close to those eyelashes and eyelids to show how it is three-dimensionally moving backwards and around. Look for those changes when you're drawing an eye. Now that I'm ready to move on to the next part, I decided I was going to do all of the skin value around the eye. I'm going to map in the lightest value first. Then I'm going to go in and start mapping in my darkest values. This helps me to see my range. As I do this, I'm going to start building up layers, finding places that are subtly darker and subtly lighter, and trying to transition or fade and blend those with using only my pencil and the amount of pressure I use on my pencil. I'm going to continue building these layers up until I feel like I get those values right. Also notice that I am not doing any of the eyebrows. I want to fill in all of the value around the eyebrows first. This will be because the little hairs actually have skin color showing through them. So I'm going to draw all of the skin values in and add the eyebrows on top afterwards. Once I feel like my values are good and in the right placement, this is when I'm going to go through and crisp up those little places like edges where the shadows change a little bit more dramatically. I'm going to double check my values of my darkest darks and my highlights. And I'm going to start adding in details like the reflected highlight of the eyelashes on the eyeball themselves. These types of details are things that I want to add in after all of the values are right. Again, notice I am not doing any of the eyelashes or the eyebrows until after I have all of these other parts drawn in, checked for accuracy, and touched up first.